Welcome back to my channel Think CSEC. Today we'll be doing part 2 of the CSEC English A January 2017 past paper 1. So if you haven't watched part 1 as yet, there's a link in the description below to that video, as well as there's a card somewhere on this video. You can click it and go ahead and watch it and then come back and watch part 2. So let us get right into it. Items 21 through 30. It says, the instruction says, read the following poem carefully and then answer items 21 through 30 on the basis of what is stated or implied. The title of the poem is A Bad Day. It says, I cannot smile today, nor be pleasant today. I do not like people today, and particularly hate children today. Today I am sad. Today I am mad at everybody and everything. I hurt today. I can't love today, nor see beauty today. I wish the wind away. No, I can't be happy today. I look down the future today and began to die today. Let's look at the questions. It says, question 21 says, which of the following is not true of the poet today? A, she cannot smile. B, she cannot be sad today. C, she does not love children. Or D, she cannot see beauty in anything. So we know the one that is not true is B, she cannot be sad today. So that is our answer. That is not true. Everything speaks volume that she is very sad. 22 says, which of the following words best describes the poet's mood? A, jovial. B, anxious. C, reflective. Or D, melancholic. Now, we know a jovial person is someone who is very happy. Anxious means that you're very worried. Reflective means that you're a deep thinker, you're very thoughtful. Now, and melancholic means that you're gloomy, you're depressed, you're very sad. So that would be your answer in describing the poet's mood. So D would be your answer. Let's go on to 23. It says the word particularly, line 4, is nearest in meaning to A, rarely, B, sincerely, C, especially, or D, truthfully. So the one that is nearest would be C, especially. 24 says, which of the following is an example of alliteration? A, cannot smile today, line 1. B, can't love today, line 9. C, wish the wind away, line 12. Or D, began to die today, line 15. So we know it is C, wish the wind away, line 12. Let's go on to 25. The poet repeats the word today for A, balance, B, emphasis, C, consistency, or D, enhancement. So we know the repetitive of a word is to show or place its emphasis. So B would be our answer. Let's go on to 26. I looked down the future today, line 14, is an example of A, simile, B, metaphor, C, onomatopoeia, or D, apostrophe. We know it is making a comparison of, so we know that is B, metaphor. Let's go on to 27. The words nor see beauty, line 10, mean that the poet cannot A, see nature, B, see children, C, tolerate people, or D, appreciate anything. We know it is D. The poet cannot appreciate anything. Let's go on to 28. It says, the mood of the poem can best be described as A, peaceful, B, sarcastic, C, depressing, or D, apprehensive. Well, this is very easy. We know our answer would be C, depressing. Let's go on to 29. The poet began to die, line 15, probably because A, the weather was gloomy, B, she could not control her anger, C, future events did not look promising, or D, there were too many people around her. We know that would be C. Our answer would be C. Future events did not look promising. C would be our answer. Let's go on to 30. The poet's intention is to A. Inform us of her activities, B. Express her hatred of people, C. Show us our dislike of children, or D. Tell us of her unhappy condition. We know it is very obvious that our answer would be D. Tell us of her unhappy condition. Let's go on to 31. So items 31 through 38, the instruction says, read the following passage carefully and then answer items 31 through 38 on the basis of what is stated or implied. And the title of it is The Sisters. It says, over the years, Martha had sent many warm and friendly messages to Elena, inviting her to visit Ora and assuring her that she'd always be welcome. But her prodigal sister never replied. From time to time, however, traders brought news to Elena's marriage to Ayako had been blessed with two sets of twins, that Ayako had succeeded his father as ruler of the kingdom of horses, and that their marriage was a stormy one. For a long time there was no further news until one day a traveler told Queen Martha that Ayako had been thrown by a wild horse and had broken his back, that Elena had lost both her beauty and her mind, and after shouting night and day that the kingdom of wild horses was an accursed one, she had escaped from keepers. They searched high and low for her, but she had vanished without a trace, the traveler said, shaking his head sadly. The queen immediately summoned Leah and ordered her to send search parties to all of the countries bordering on the kingdom of wild horses. Go to the ends of the earth if you have to, but bring my sister back to Ora. However, finds her will be amply whoever finds her will be amply rewarded. Queen Martha said to the trackers, traders, and interpreters whom Leah had recruited, but after years of futile searching, the search parties returned one by one and reported that they had found no trace of Elena. It's as if your sister has vanished from the face of the earth, Leah said. I hear you, Queen Martha said, and yet I feel in my bones that she is still alive. Leah had led one of the search parties, and when she returned, her hair was streaked with gray, and age had mapped her rough hewn face with lines as delicate as spider webs. The first time that Leah stepped in the audience room to report about her travels to distant places in search of Elena, she was both surprised and pleased to see how Queen Martha had aged. When their eyes met for the smiling Leah said to herself, it's as if her face had beaten very gently against the years, for she could see quite clearly how time had changed what was once an ugly countenance into a beautiful one. When a shaft of sunlight touched the cloud of white hair on the queen's head, it became luminous, and the welcoming smile lighting up her face lifted Leah's spirits and made her heart sing. And somehow, all the hardships she had endured, traveling across parched savannas, through dense wooded valleys, over mountains, and down turbulent rivers, were forgotten. Let's look at the questions. The question says, 31 says, the style of writing in this extract can best be described as A, factual, B, narrative, C, descriptive, or D, argumentative. Well, we know that it would be a narrative one. So it's a narrative one. So our answer would be B. Okay, let's go on to 32 now. It says, what do the words their marriage was a stormy one lines 4 to 5 imply? A, they married on a stormy day. B, there were happy times in the marriage. C, the couple was not sure of the marriage. Or D, the marriage was filled with disagreements. Well, stormy one, that would suggest that they had problems. So we would say that the marriage was filled with disagreements. And you know, when you have problems, that result in arguments. So we would say D is our answer. Let's go on to 33. The instruction, go to the ends of the earth, line 12, implies that they should search A, every accessible land, B, the kingdom of wild horses, C, over mountains and down rivers, D, through densely wooded valleys. Wow. So we know that go to the ends of the earth. This would suggest that wherever she would have to go to find her, then that's what she would have to do. So this means that our answer would be B. No, it would be A. Every accessible land. So everywhere that she could go to find her, then that's what they would have to do. A. Let's go on to 34. The literary device used in the phrase as delicate as spider webs, line 19, is A, pun, B, simile, C, metaphor, or D, hyperbole. So we know that would be simile. That would be simile, B. As delicate as spider webs, B. So that's simile. Let's go on to 35. Says the writer implies that Leah was A, the leader of the queen's army, B, a household servant, C, Martha's sister, or D, a traveler. So we know Leah is a leader of the queen's army. She's a leader. So let's go on to 36. Which of the following is an example of contrast? A, she had lost both her beauty and her mind, line 6. B, she had vanished without a trace, line 8. C, their hair was streaked with gray, line 18. Or D, lighting up her dark face, line 25. So which of these would be considered as a contrast? Well, we know it would be D, lighting up her dark face. D, line 25. So, because we know contrast means difference or stand out against. So that would be it. So 37 says the cloud of white ear, line 24, is an example of A, litotes, B, metaphor, C, oxymoron, or D, personification. We know it is B, metaphor. "38 says, the concluding sentence of the extract suggests that A, they had forgotten all about Elena, B, they had given up the search for Elena, C, Leah would be willing to continue the search, D, the problems which Leah had encountered in the search were forgotten. Then, if we look back in line, let's take a look back here. See line 26 here, it says, and somehow all the hardship she had endured traveling across parched savannas through densely Wooded valleys over mountains and down turbulent rivers were forgotten. So therefore, our answer would be D. The problems which Leah had encountered in the search were forgotten. D. Let's go on to questions 39 now through 47. The instruction says, read the following extra carefully and then answer items 39 through 47 on the basis of what is stated or implied. It says, when the traditional family unit is discussed, it is usually in terms of the external social changes that are threatening its existence as an institution. Little thought is given to the internal problems of normal homes. The central problem for most family members is, of course, how to get along with each other. This internal matter is not without its external implications, for only where there are orderly and peaceful families can there be an orderly and peaceful society. Of all the social changes that have affected the family in recent years, by far the most significant has been the increase in the number of mothers of school-age children who have taken outside employment. In Canada, some 75% of women in this category now have full-time or part-time jobs. For the most part, economic imperatives have left women no choice to work for money. An income sufficient to maintain an average family style took one Canadian 48 hours a week to earn in the 1950s. It takes two people 65 to 75 hours a week to earn that income today. The conflicts between work and family life and scarcity of time to devote to children have taken a personal toll on women in the form of stress and depression. Obviously, individuals under stress are harder to deal with than those who are not. So the tensions of work are carried over into tensions in mother-child relationships. Men too report feeling stressed out and squeezed between work and family obligations. Males raised in the tradition of mothers doing everything in the home are inclined to be lax in doing housework and awkward in the unaccustomed role of actively nurturing children. But if a two-income family is to run smoothly and fairly, the household workload must be shared. Another profound change in family relationships lies in the relatively high incidence of divorce and marital separations in Western society. The fact that so many couples feel they must go their separate ways illustrates just how difficult it is for people to live together satisfactorily at the best of times. So here is our question. 39 says, according to paragraph 1, lines 1 through 5, which of the following results from conflict between family members? A. Disorder in societies. B. Anxious parents and children. C. Disruptive behavior in homes. Or D. High levels of tension between parents. So we know it is as a result. Let's look at it here. See, it says when the traditional family unit is discussed, it is usually in terms of the external social changes that are threatening its existence as an institution. So let's look back. So it would be A, disorder in societies. So this is often the result between parents. Let's go on to 40. According to the extract, all of the following threaten the existence of the family except A, the high divorce rate in Western society, B, conflicts between employers and working parents, C, problems family members experience in getting along, or D, the increase in the number of mothers of school-age children working outside of the home. So we know it is between conflicts between employers and working parents. Go on to question 41. The word that is closest in meaning to imperatives is A, demands, B, matters, C, concerns, D, guidelines. So we know it is B, matters. So let's go on to question number 42. Says, in paragraph 2, lines 6 through 12, the writer compares income in the 1950s to income today to show that A, people today work longer hours for the same pay as in the 1950s, B, people earn more in the 1950s than today, or C, people today do not work as hard as people in the 1950s, or D, a single income cannot adequately support an average family. So we know it is D, a single income cannot adequately support an average family. Let's move on to 43. According to the writer in paragraph 3, lines 13 through 20, tensions in mother-child relationships can occur because 1, mothers are under stress, 2, parents and children are under stress, 3, mothers are depressed and hard to deal with. Is it A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, 1 and 3 only, or D, 2 and 3 only? So we know it is C, 1 and 3 only. So let's go on to 44. The writer's main purpose is to A, focus on the problems experienced by men, B, reveal the problems experienced by men, women, and children, C, highlight some of the internal problems threatening the family, or D, show that single income families function better than two income families. We know it is C, to highlight some of the internal problems threatening the family. Let's go on to 45. It says, the writer's main intention in lines 15 through 20 is to show that A, men in two-income households never help in the home, B, two-income households always experience stress, C, children in two-income households are neglected, or D, sharing of the household work can help a two-income family to run smoothly. We know it is D. Sharing of the household workload can help a two-income family to run smoothly. Let's go on to 46. Couples feel they must go their separate ways, lines 22 through 23, because of A, high divorce rates, B, problems with existing agreeably, C, difficulty with Western societies, or D, changes in relations in good times. So we know it is B, problems with existing agreeably. Let's go on to 47. The tone of the passage may be best described as A, analytical, B, mocking, C, indignant, or D, complaining. We know it is analytical, A. Let's go on to 48 now. Items 48 through 54. The instruction says, read the following extra carefully and then answer items 48 through 54 on the basis of what is stated or implied. The title, He is the Man. It says, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the candidate for Dimmsville. He is the man who will make all your dreams come true. He is the man who will fulfill all your wishes. He is the man who will stand by you through thick and thin. Our opponents say that he comes from a foreign country and is not one of you. I must thank them for their kind comments because that is just what you need. His exposure to a developed world. He is equipped with the best ideas that will create opportunities for you. Don't you need steady jobs? And how about a school like that, which the other areas have? Yes, my friends, you need to live like valued citizens. not like oppressed slaves in endless destitution. Your lives are not a journey into the promised land. You wander in a vast wilderness where hostile forces of humanity hound you with relentless cruelty. Your daily bread is sickness and worry, hunger and disease. Your hovels are dens of misery filled with empty hopes and despair. Have you considered the future of the children? Look at this man, the man who will make your dreams come true, the man who will give you your wishes, the man who cares enough to come to your village. Here are the questions. 48 says the speech was most likely given at a board meeting, B business meeting, C political meeting, or D church meeting. Obviously, it was given at a political meeting because we notice it mentions candidates. 49 says in the extract, the writer addresses the audience as you in order to A. present himself to the audience, B. distance himself from the audience, C. accuse the audience of failing in their duty, or D. make the audience feel he cares about them. We know it is D. Make the audience feel he cares about them. Let's go on to 50. The speaker suggests that because the candidate comes from a foreign country lines 3 to 4, he will A. not appreciate them, B. leave them at any time, C. be an advantage to them, or D. not represent them well. So we know it would be C. It will be an advantage to them. Let's go on to 51. When the speaker says, you need to live like valued citizens, line 8, he attempts to A. make the villagers feel good, B. condemn the way the villagers live, C. change the villagers' way of life, or D. make the villagers feel they are treated well. So we know B and C would be out. B and D, would be out. So our answer options would be A or C. Make the villagers feel good, or C, change the villagers' way of life. So let's go with C. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. Let's go on to 52. The name Dinsville is suitable for the village because A. it is an important name, B. there is no electricity in the village, it is named after someone who used to live there, or D. the villagers feel hopeless because they lack basic amenities. Well, we know it is D. Villagers feel hopeless because they lack basic amenities. 53 says, in paragraph 1, the speaker repeats the words, he is the man, because he wants to A. present the candidate as a superman, B. emphasize the power the candidate possesses, C. inform the villagers that they need a man and not a woman to represent them, D. impress upon the audience that he is offering them the best person for the job. So we know it would be D. It would be D. Let's move on to 54. Which of the following devices is not used in the speech? A. Pun, B. Metaphor, C. Repetition, or D. Rhetorical questions. Well, we know that would be, when you think of it, we notice there A. Pun would be our answer. We didn't, so that is not used. We saw metaphor being used because we look at the name of the place, Dimsville. We saw repetition coming out because he often referred to he is the man in it, and then we saw rhetorical question such as don't you need steady jobs and so on. So pun would be the one that is not used. Let's go on to 55 through 60. It says, read the following advertisement carefully and then answer items 55 through 60 on the basis of what is stated or implied. So it is about energy efficiency tips. Look at the tips. Tip 1, keep fixtures and bulbs clean. Dirt can absorb as much as 50% of light. 2, turn off the lights when leaving a room, even if it's only for a few minutes. It's just a myth that it takes more energy to turn a light on than to leave it on. Tip 3, use motion sensors for outdoor lights. They're a good security measure that doesn't waste energy. 4, use lower wattage bulbs. Your lights may be brighter than you need. 5, purchase lamps with dimmer switches, as you can lower the settings when less light is required. 6, place floor or table lamps in a corner. This allows light to reflect from the walls, making the room brighter without turning on more lights. 7, use fluorescent lights instead of incandescent lights. Compact fluorescent lights use up to 75% less energy than incandescent lights for the same amount of light and last up to 10 times longer. 55 says, the main purpose of the advertisement is to A, sell light bulbs, B, promote lighting in the home, C, encourage better energy use, or D, highlight energy use in the home. We know it is C. It is encouraging better energy use. Let's go on to 56. Which of the following is the best meaning of the word absorb as used in tip 1 of the advertisement? A, use up, B, soak up, C, take in, or D, swallow up. So we know absorb, just like a piece of sponge, you put it in a pan of water, it swallow up. So absorb, swallow. Okay, let's go on to 57. Which of the following practices is recommended? A, turning off all lights for a minute. B, turn off the lights for short periods. C, keeping the lights on when leaving a room. D, turn off the lights when leaving a room. So we know it is D, turn off the lights when leaving a room. Let's go on because we saw that in tip 2. Let's go on to 58. The advertisement emphasizes that motion sensors are important because they A, are efficient and provide security, B, are cheaper and brighter, C, do not waste energy, D, use energy outdoors. Our answer is C, do not waste energy. 59. Which of the following statements is not made in the advertisement? A, low wattage bulbs use less energy. B, lamps placed on the floor are better for energy efficiency. C, not all light bulbs are energy efficient. Or D, compact fluorescent lights are energy efficient. It is B. So we saw A, C, and D. So B is not. That was not made in the advertisement. Let's look at our final question. 60 says the information in the advertisement would be most useful to A, contractors, B, electricians, C, householders, or D, the light company. We know it would be to householders, telling us how to conserve. All right, so this has brought us to the end of the CSEC English A January 2017 Past Paper 1 Part 2. So we have completed the entire CSEC paper. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until then, we'll see you in the next video.